All right, how's it going, everyone? It's me, your favorite input immersion-based Korean language learner on YouTube, Cloudy Howdy. Thanks for coming in and checking out this video. I have been away for a little while, I guess you could say, away from YouTube. I haven't made a video in about 2 months, and not exactly by choice. Oh, well, I guess yes, by choice, but I didn't intend for it to be that way. It just kind of worked out that way. Um, Obviously, YouTube is just a hobby for me at this point. And things got a little hairy, and I got a little distracted with some other things, but I'm back. Two months ago, I posted my 5th-month update, and so this would make this my 7th-month update. So to start off, I have been I've been really busy. I've been working really hard. I've been doing all of the immersion. In fact, I've been doing nothing else in my life except for just immersing really, really hard. Okay, that's a lie. I've been actually kind of half-assing it a little bit. A couple of weeks in the middle of this last 2 months, here and there, I took my immersion learning down a few notches, and I just sort of lightly touched on it for, some days I would do some days I would do not very much. And throughout all of that, throughout the last 2 months, I did keep up with my Anki, adding some new cards every day and reviewing those. And I did immerse on almost every day, but I really didn't try very hard. I wasn't reading a lot like I had originally planned. And yeah, I just didn't, I didn't do a lot. However, that's not to say I didn't do anything, and I still did probably more than a casual learner, somebody who's just doing it, on the weekends every once in a while might do. Somebody doing a little bit of, what's that app called? Duolingo, I probably did a little bit more than maybe your casual Duolingo learner. I did progress a little bit in my comprehension because there were some weeks where I was putting in a lot of effort, and I did focus a bit on reading. And one thing that happens when you focus on reading a little bit is that your ability to get through the sentences quickly increases while being able to pay attention to each part of the sentence. So it all kind of comes through as information that you can understand. If I know the words, I can comfortably read some Korean text for the most part. And some of the grammar that I had been, some of the intermediate grammar, I'm starting to become a little bit comfortable with as well, and that's because of that reading I did. So for my active immersion time, since that's a big part of my Korean learning habits and routines, I guess, is that active immersion where I'm reading or watching shows. And somewhere along the line, I started just kind of watching all kinds of YouTube and all kinds of random stuff. And that ultimately is where things began to kind of fall apart, I realized. I only realized this yesterday. I started shooting a video yesterday as my update, and I realized, or maybe was it a couple of days ago? Regardless, I shot a video, and I wasn't very happy with it. I didn't exactly know how to express what was going on. I didn't have a good update for you. I didn't have a good answer. I didn't have a concise little nugget of information for you. But I realized yesterday, in the past couple of days, that I'd rediscovered recently why I was so gung-ho about the Korean learning during the first 5 months or so of my first 4.5 of my immersion learning journey. And something that I lost along that way was that I began to put a lot less emphasis on trying to find stuff that interested me. and that was comprehensible. So with those two things, it meant that I was watching just whatever, whenever, and I wasn't committing to any minimum amount of time. And as a result, the time I was spending with it was just kind of random. So it was just whatever I could see. It made it really hard to feel an emotional connection to what I was doing. So what made me discover that was I recently got back into watching these web dramas, which is still blowing my mind that I even enjoy these. All right, there's nothing special about them. There's nothing spectacular about them. They're basically really predictable and short and really simple storylines, and the emotions and feelings are exaggerated, and that makes perfect sense when you're learning. So I started watching some of those again, and that fire came back pretty much immediately. It was hard to find that interest and that passion in the couple of months past. And I also found some some webtoons that were also pretty interesting. Some of the problem with my reading was that I focused so much on these really dry educational texts, and that's helpful, but it's not ultimately that much fun. It is fun when you learn a word, you learn a few words, you become comfortable with it, and you can read through it. But that novelty runs it's a little bit less novel as time goes on. So that was the key for me. I got back into these web dramas. I just finished Kiss Goblin, and I just watched it for the second time in a row, actually, with the subtitles. It's really encouraging to see how much I was able to understand in the show. That was another thing. After taking a really light period of time watching a bunch of stuff that was not comprehensible and not focusing on finding stuff that interested me, just finding whatever that was in Korean, coming back to something that was easy and comprehensible and interesting, I was really happy with where my level was. I didn't quite understand how much I knew, how far I had come, until I took a little time away. So that is pretty much the bulk of what I wanted to talk about, is that not a lot happened, but enough happened, and I'm back in the saddle. I've figured out again what it is that is going to keep me going. And I just ordered some books that are some kind of like middle school aged graded readers for some classic stories like Robinson Crusoe, Animal Farm, and things like that. And I'm going to be trying to get some other books that are a little bit easier than that. So I'm going to be trying to dive into something that's interesting, comprehensible. I'm hoping it'll work out. And we'll see where the next month heads up. In the past few weeks, though, there's been another thing that I've introduced into my routine, and it's been nice to go back and to touch on a larger part of the community. So I'm talking about Refold, right? Matt versus Japan, after the mass immersion approach is done, went on to create Refold. And I joined on as the admin of the Korean server to help kind of keep things together, launch it, and help kind of shape the server there so that it reflects well on the Refold culture, or the Refold brand, and has a positive culture for people to learn the language. So I'm really enjoying that. I like being a part of the community, and that's where I'm going to be spending a lot of time helping people out in the foreseeable future. So if you go to the refold.la website, you can find a link there, and I'll put some links in the description so you guys know. It's a really great website. I really like how well it's put together, and I think they did a good job of making everything in the process really concise, focused, clear, and helpful. And I hope that some of you who are either new to my channel, or new to immersion learning, or maybe old to it and just want another look at a different way of looking at things, suggest checking it out. So I'm going to wrap things up there. I wanted to make this short and sweet. I hope you guys have had a good 2 months immersing. I hope that you continue to do so. I want to thank you for watching my videos. So I really enjoy reading your guys' comments, and I'm not just saying that so that you get more engagement on the video. Okay, a little bit, but you know, that's how it is. I really do love reading the comments, so it's always really encouraging to see people, you know, just take a couple of seconds to say, hey, you know, thanks for the video, or, you know, what are your thoughts on this, blah, blah, blah. And so I read every comment that comes through my videos. So yeah, if you liked it, you know, please leave a like on the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope to see you guys soon with some more videos. Catch you later.